You know what this made me think of as a Whovian? Those episodes of Doctor Who where they do something that kind of is fiction and then they ground it in reality somehow and it ends up being like a parallel but with some supernatural elements? Yeah, I kept thinking about that this whole time because the Doctor is in it. Alright guys, gals, and everything in between, I am here today to review to you Pride and Prejudice and Zombies. Pride and Prejudice, it needed the zombie apocalypse treatment because that's how I felt after I read the book. Pride and Prejudice is Jane Austen's beloved classic, and I personally, when I had to read that book, nonetheless, there are people who love it, and this film has zombies in it, which apparently this is actually based off of a book that they sort of parodied Pride and Prejudice, and it takes the overall same narrative but adds it in the zombie apocalypse. This film stars Lily James and Sam Riley, and that guy, I want to say Douglas Booth. The good of this film is Lily James. Lily James is fantastic. She is great in every scene she's in. She is amazingly attractive. I mean, Matt Smith. Matt Smith as the Doctor. He was playing the Doctor in this. I'm just being honest. You know those Doctor Who side adventures where the Doctor is in it, but he's not like the main character? Yeah, this was honestly probably a reject episode of it where they parodied Pride and Prejudice. I mean, it could have been that, because honestly, if you cut out all the zombie stuff, it is quite literally just Pride and Prejudice. You're not getting much zombie apocalypse when you're going in here. Every zombie apocalypse scene is pretty much in the trailer. I mean, there's like one or two scenes that are left out, but they're all in the trailer. I mean, Matt Smith made the movie good. When he was on screen, it was good. And that's what I have to stress to you guys. This movie is not good. You go into it for the novelty of the parody of Pride and Prejudice with zombies. The problem is that it's so horribly imbalanced. You get a couple zombie scenes, and then Pride and Prejudice. And not only Pride and Prejudice, but you get basically a made-for-TV version of Pride and Prejudice. The guy who plays Mr. Darcy in this, named Sam Riley, he sounded like John Hurt with strep throat. I would like to ask you to dance, miss. Zombie apocalypse, we're going to take them down. Yes. I'm probably doing a horrible impersonation, but when you watch the movie, you're gonna be like, it's strep throat John Hurt. He looks like that one friend of yours who goes through that kind of emo phase, but he doesn't want to be full emo because he probably listens to Christina Aguilera. So I just want to throw that out there. Like, he's that. Everybody else is just kind of there. Lena Headey is in it for a minute, and it's Pride and Prejudice. And then some zombie scenes. I mean, honestly, adding inserts to a film, that's basically all this was, because I literally could cut out all the zombie parts. Is it well filmed? Yes. They use a lot of desaturation in the cinematography and all of that to make the colors feel very gray and drab. It worked well for the tone that they were doing. The only problem is when the Jane Austen stuff is on there, it's trying to look gritty and hardcore, and it's just not, because it's Jane Austen. When the zombie stuff is happening, it's cool. Heads are exploding and all of that. But I just want to point out to you guys that I keep emphasizing, it feels so out of place. You're watching it, and because it doesn't have that continuous zombie stuff or that continuous parody stuff, you feel the entire time like you're watching just random added scenes to the movie, like to an actual Pride and Prejudice movie, because it just feels so out of place. Like there's a scene, for example, where they're walking down a pathway, and Matt Smith's being the Doctor, and quite literally being the Doctor, and Lily James is sitting there looking attractive, and then they cut to a random field, and then there's zombies there, and they handle the scene, and then the scene continues. And it's normal Pride and Prejudice again. It is so out of place that you're watching it and you're like, am I watching two things at once? Am I watching a really bad episode of The Walking Dead at the same time I'm watching a TV version of Pride and Prejudice? It really is that disjointed, and then the film hits to a grinding halt at about the halfway mark to where it is just dead boring and awful to watch, because you're not watching the acting caliber of what Pride and Prejudice normally does to sell the movie, and you're not watching a fantastic zombie movie. So you're stuck in this film limbo, and you just are bored. And then finally stuff happens again, and it just feels forced. I didn't buy the love triangle. I didn't buy the chemistry between Darcy and then the main character, Lily James. Didn't buy their romance at all. And it felt like nothing really fit. And that brings me back to my point. The only reason I will not garbage rating this movie is because Matt Smith steals the show. Every scene Matt Smith is in, the theater was in a huge laugh. Like, we're talking roaring laughter. I was laughing. Everything he did was what this movie should have been. Lily James, when she had something to do, was fantastic. But the rest of the movie just falls flat, and it's not enough to save this movie. I'm not going to garbage rating it, but Pride and Prejudice and Zombies is background noise. Maybe the book parody thing is better, but personally, this wouldn't sell me to go read it. Alright, guys, gals, and everything in between, what's your favorite mashup kind of movie? Don't forget to like and subscribe, got plenty more videos coming to ya.